In tonight's Rewrite, another episode of Romney Men, that lovable clan of Republican warmongers who never met a war they didn't like, but never dreamed of serving in the military themselves. Willard Romney's fear of participating in war is so extreme and his definition of war so broad that he is even afraid of going on The View.
But the view is fine, although the view is high risk because of the 5 women on it, only 1 is conservative and 4 are sharp-tongued and not conservative. Whoopi Goldberg in particular.
Mitt Romney chicken-hawked out of going on The View today and sent his wife in his place, and thanks to Whoopi Goldberg, the legend of Romney Men came up.
As First Lady, if you get the job, it's going to entail a lot of things, and one of those things is going to be talking to the mothers whose children are coming home in bags, you know, from wars. Now, I believe that your religion doesn't allow you to go fight.
No, that's not correct.
Okay, so
we have many, many members of our faith that are serving in armed services.
Okay.
And the funny part of that is what exactly? What does Ann Romney find funny about serving in the armed services? Nothing. That's what she and her husband do when they're very, very nervous in public, when they really don't like where the conversation is going. You get that nervous Romney laugh. Well, let's see where the conversation went.
Well, I say that because when I read about your husband, what I had read, and maybe you can correct this, is that the reason that he didn't serve in Vietnam was because it was against the religion. That's what I read.
No, that's not correct. He was serving his mission, and you know, my 5 sons have also served missions. None served in the military, but I do have one son that feels that he's giving back to his country in a significant way, where he is now a doctor and he is taking care of veterans. So, you know, we find different ways of serving, and my 5 boys and my husband did serve missions, did not serve in the military.
Okay, so they didn't serve in the military, but they did serve missions. What kind of missions? CIA missions? Ann Romney just used the phrase served missions 3 times without ever saying what the missions were. Why didn't she just say religious missions or Mormon missions, which is what they were? When Romney men reach military age, they bravely go out into the world and try to convert people to Mormonism. That's what Mitt Romney was doing when this picture was taken on a beach in France, while hundreds of thousands of young American men his age were being shot at in Vietnam. Mitt and Ann's 5 sons did not grow up in peacetime. Each of them reached military age during wartime, and each of them, like their father before them, refused to even consider serving in the wars of their era that they support. They've supported those wars, not serving in wars. You don't support serving in wars if you're a Romney man. Not serving in a war that you don't support, that's a perfectly honorable choice. Millions of Americans have made that choice. But during Vietnam, Mitt Romney's war, men were forced to serve through the draft whether they supported the war or not. A draft that Mitt Romney did, in fact, evade by using a special draft deferment allowed only to Mormon men. Whoopi Goldberg was closer to the truth than Ann Romney acknowledged. Ann Romney is right that serving in the military is not against the Romney family religion. But the complete truth includes the fact that young Mormon men were allowed to use a special deferment that no one else was allowed to use. To avoid being killed in Vietnam and to avoid becoming one of the 58,000 Americans killed in Vietnam. But this is important. Not all Mormon men made Mitt Romney's choice. Not all of them hid behind the special deferment that they were offered. Some Mormon men did their missionary service for their church and served in Vietnam. Brave Mormon men were killed in Vietnam, men Mitt Romney's age, while Mitt Romney was sitting out the war in France. Serving in war is not against the Romney family religion, but it is against the Romney family tradition of safely and always pursuing self-interest. Mitt Romney's father, George Romney, did not serve in the war of his era, World War II. You might have heard of that one. And George Romney's father never considered joining the American military because he spent much of his early life in Mexico, where the Romney family was hiding out from the enforcement of American laws against polygamy. Mitt Romney's great-grandfather brought the family to Mexico, where he was able to keep his 5 wives. Needless to say, Miles Park Romney, who hated the laws of the United States so much that he fled the country, never considered joining the military of a country whose laws he found so personally oppressive. Since Romney men have no idea what the weight of military service actually feels like, Mitt Romney was able to actually say this the first time he ran for president, when he was asked, "How many of your 5 sons are currently serving in the military?"
One of the ways my sons are showing support for our nation is helping to get me elected because they think I'd be a great president.
The Romney men's refusal to serve in the military while championing every war that comes along and urging us into another one in Iran right now, that continues to intrigue inquiring reporters.
All of you served your church going on missions. Did you ever consider serving your country by putting on a uniform, by serving in the military?
You know, I think we can look at the guys who served in the military, men and women, and just say that's the biggest sacrifice you can make for your country. It's nothing any of us did, but we look at those guys with a tremendous amount of respect.
And Ben, do you regret you never served?
You know, I look at my life that I'm living right now, and I'm in residency, and I spend a lot of my time at the VA hospital. I get to work with vets who have made great sacrifices for this country, and I look at their lives, and hopefully I get to serve them a little bit too.
Notice that Romney men did not dare answer the question that was asked. Did you ever consider serving your country by putting on a uniform? Do you regret not serving? They didn't answer that question, but I can answer it for them. And the Romney men answer is, are you kidding me? We're Romney men. We're afraid of serving in the military. Every one of us. We always have been, and that's even before we found out how much it pays. The flawlessly consistent intergenerational combat cowardice of Romney men makes today's threat of physical violence from a Romney man all the more surprising. Mitt Romney's oldest son, Taggart Romney, was the guest of honor on a North Carolina radio show yesterday.
Okay, I'm going to ask something I know a lot of people want to know, or at least I do. What is it like for you to hear the President of the United States call your dad a liar? How do you react to that?
Well, jump out of your seat and you want to rush down the debate stage and take a swing at him. But you can't do that because, well, first because there's a lot of Secret Service between you and him, but also because this is the nature of the process. That they're going to try to do everything they can do to try to make my dad into someone he's not. We signed up for it. We got to kind of sit there and take our punches, and then send him right back the other way.
Okay, Taggart, let's have a little talk, just you and me. When I hear you talk about taking a swing and taking punches, why do I get the feeling that you've never actually taken a punch or thrown a punch? I didn't have that luxury in the part of Boston that I grew up in, but in your rich, suburban Boston life, with your father filling a $100 million trust fund for you, I don't know. I just get the feeling that things were kind of different for you. Now, I know you've got a lot to be pissed off at these days, starting with the name Taggart, which you've got every right to be wicked pissed off at for every day of the 42 years of your life. So let me try to help you deal with all this aggression you're feeling right now. You're mad at President Obama for calling your father a liar? Well, let's get something straight. He didn't call your father a liar. I did. The president just said that what your father said isn't true. I've been saying all year that your father is a liar. I've repeatedly said that your father lies and is trying to lie his way into the White House. So, you want to take a swing at someone for calling your old man a liar? Take a swing at me. Come on. Come on. And don't worry. There won't be any Secret Service involved. Just us. And I'll make it easy for you. I'll come to you. Anytime, anywhere. Go ahead, Taggart. Take your best shot.